all packs and all monoblocks come built with a built-in photo slave. And what that photo slave allows you to do is it allows you to trigger the flash from another flash. So if, in this case, I'm going to be triggering my ProPhoto 1200 watt second pack using a standard speed light. Actually, a pretty low end speed light. This is called a TT560. At its maximum output, it would be something like 60 watt seconds. And I'm going to show you that you can trigger your strobe or your pack without using a radio trigger. And you don't even really need a lot of power coming out of this speed light if you use this Ultra Slave. So there are two reasons for this. One is if you are coming from a speed light and going to, let's say, your first monoblock or your first pack, and it does, most likely it will come with a built-in photo slave. Try it. Try your speed. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy a radio trigger. You don't need to go out and buy a Pocket Wizard or, let's say, a pair of Pocket Wizards, one for your camera and one for your speed light. The other reason is if you have multiple monoblocks, you don't need to buy a radio trigger for each monoblock. You can just radio trigger one, so you get a pair. If you put one on your camera, you put one on one monoblock. And if you have two or three other monoblocks on the set, just let the photo slave that's built in do the triggering on those additional ones. So, it just cuts down a little bit on your equipment and on the batteries and space and all that kind of good stuff. So the reason that I'm showing you this that used to be made by a company called Wein, it's their Ultra Slave, is that the built-in photo slaves may not work that well outside. And they may not work that well outside if there is a lot of ambient light. So the photo that you're looking at here was exposed with bright sunshine. So it was not exposed with any kind of flash. So a lot of ambient light. And the final image that I ended up taking, I should say, was also in that direct sunlight. It just looks darker here because it's primarily being exposed from flash. So I'm shooting through, some grid cloth. The acute pack is powering the acute head, and that's giving this exposure right here. But when I took the photo, I was 3 meters, let's say 36 feet away. And when I took it, I had this, speed light on my camera, and I pointed it straight into the sky, and I set it at its lowest power setting. So, I tried to make it as weak as possible with regards to the amount of light that might find its way to the slave, and it worked really well. And in fact, I could have gone further than 36 feet. I just happened to pick this spot in my yard. But I've tried it across my entire yard. I really don't know what the length is. But, it is really, really sensitive outside. So I like these. I tend to use a radio trigger, but if I'm bringing additional lights onto my set, I will only radio trigger, one pack or one light, and then I'll use one of these to do the triggering for the additional strobes that I'm bringing into the set. And I like them because they're small. I like them because they don't take batteries. And, there's no extra cable, so it's really quite straightforward to get additional strobes set up. And anyways, if you are thinking about using one outside, I would probably suggest trying your pack or monoblock first. Maybe you have a good one and it's really sensitive and you don't need one of these. If you if you do decide that you want to try to use one outside, then I would, look to buy one of these. I don't know if they make them new, but, they're $25 to $40. And they make Wein makes a lot of products. I would look for the one called Ultra Slave. You can see the model number there, and yeah, good luck.